Talking about Doctor Who, the Ark in Space, and the Sontaran Experiment, which is the second and third stories within Season 12, which is a very strong season, in my opinion. So, I decided to combine these into one video because the Sontaran Experiment's only 2 episodes, and I just think it would be easier for me to talk about both of them. Also, the Ark in Space leads directly into the Sontaran Experiment, so it kind of seems like a loosely connected six-part story anyway. Um, so yeah, starting off with the Elk in Space, it's very clear that this is an influence on Alien. I don't know that for sure or not, but there's a lot of plot elements, a lot of mood, um, tone. I don't know. You could see how it foreshadows that movie, and I love Alien, so obviously I also love the Elk in Space. Um, there's just so much that works in this story. The atmosphere is so it's so claustrophobic and eerie. There's not much of a soundtrack, and I think that actually helps set the tension because you don't have music to distract you. You kind of just have the characters talking to each other and getting uncomfortable, and I think that's great horror. You don't need like a jump scare every 5 seconds. It's more so like the building dread of it all. But yeah, I just think it's funny how this and Alien both have people being, cryogenically frozen. They wake up. There was a monster on board. They're stuck on a spaceship. The monster is acting as a parasite in one of their bodies. Seems very familiar. I don't know. I'm just saying. They also have a woman having to take command after the main guy, you know, dies. And she's the way this woman is characterized, I think, is pretty progressive for the 70s. She's intelligent, she's vulnerable, but she's also strong. So I actually like her a lot. The Doctor is great in this as well. It has this nice balance that a lot of good Doctor Who episodes have of being entertaining, being kind of scary, having intelligent writing, very kind of science fiction esque philosophical ideas, while still being just fun to watch. And I think a lot of Robert Holmes scripts are like this. He is probably one of the best writers Doctor Who has ever had, so this episode is one of many examples of that. Oh, also a theme this had in common with Alien, I guess this one's Aliens, is that the main characters will in sleep longer than they thought they would, because that's what happens to Ripley at the beginning of Aliens. So yeah, that's another one. The sets are so good for the spaceship. You could tell it's a really big set compared to most Doctor Who episodes, because it feels so real. Uh, I especially like the outer parts of it when you could see the space in the background. It just seems very, I don't know, very creative, and you could tell they put a lot of effort in it, despite having a budget of $5. The only time you could tell it's a low budget show is the creature effects, which look like bubble wrap. Though apparently, according to the documentary, bubble wrap wasn't really that common back then, so they thought they would get away with it. But gotta be honest here, the room don't really live up. But Doctor Who has shown me one thing. It doesn't matter how low the budget is, or how silly the effects are. If you have good writing and good acting, then it doesn't really matter because you're too focused on those to even care about the stupid bubble wrap monster. And yeah, I it's a prime example of that. I've said that in so many Doctor Who videos, but it's really true. I think Noah, biblically named, of course, to kind of show Noah's Ark. When he's getting slowly transformed by the creature, his acting is so good because he's constantly shifting through different emotions, being possessed, being himself, being somewhere in the middle. You could tell he's at like conflict within himself, and I think that guy gave such a good performance, as well as the captain who has to take over from him. She was good too, but yeah, it's a great story for our main characters as well. The Doctor, Tom Baker. I said before in Robot, he like immediately found his footing, and now that he's away from Unit, which is more of a John Poetry era thing, he is able to kind of be his own Doctor, if you will. And he nails every scene he's in. He's able to be funny, kind of dark sometimes, enthusiastic, heroic. He's able to do so much. And I like how the first episode of The Ark in Space is just the Doctor, Sarah Jane, and Harry. It's almost like basically a bottle episode of them just exploring the ship and talking. They have good chemistry. I really like this team. You know, Harry Sullivan kind of has this problem where he doesn't really do much plot wise, but I think he adds so much with his natural charm and chemistry with the other two characters. Elizabeth Sladen's great as well. I particularly love that scene towards the end when she's crawling through the ducts and she's like, Doctor, I can't do it. And he's like, Of course you can't, you're a loser. And she's like, Oh, wait till I get out of here. He, like, kind of gives her the strength through spite to get out of there just so she could hit the Doctor a little bit. It's a very cute scene. And I don't know, I just love all three of these characters. It's a great story. You know, for me, Robot was kind of like a swan song to the poetry era while introducing Tom. The Ark in Space seems like the true beginning of the Tom Baker era. So, 2 thumbs up from me. Moving on to the Sontaran experiment. So the Sontaran experiment picks up right after the Ark in Space, which is kind of funny. Like watching these in order now, I realize how every episode in the season directly leads into the other one. Robot directly leads into the Ark in Space, because this shows Harry's first adventure in the TARDIS. Ark in Space directly leads into the Sontaran experiment, because it shows them landing on Earth to activate the transmitters. Sontaran experiment leads into the genesis of the Daleks, because it shows them being picked up by the Time Lords by the transmat beam, and Genesis of the Daleks leads directly into Revenge of the Cybermen, because it shows them going back to Nova. So, it's kind of like this whole season has an arc, which is very modern Doctor Who thing. You don't really see that much in classic Doctor Who. I guess season 8 had that with the Master showing up in every episode, and season 16 had the Key to Time. Season 23 had Child of a Time Lord, and seasons 25 and 26 kind of have this loose arc between, like, Ace, where she came from, what her origin story is, stuff like that. Fenric, you know. But anyway, they come to Earth and now in conflict with these military people who for some reason are South African, which I guess the writers explained they wanted like language to evolve thousands of years into the future, which makes sense. Don't know why it's South African though. That seems like kind of a random accent, but you know what? It is what it is, right? You just have to roll with it. Anyway, these kind of pseudo military people are stranded there. The Doctor, Sarah Jane, and Harry are stranded there, and turns out they're all being abducted and tortured and experimented upon by, you guessed it, the Sontaran, this Sontaran. It would be a little bit more dramatic and less predictable if we didn't know it was a Sontaran. How do we know that? Because the episode is called The Sontaran Experiment. Seems like Doctor Who always does that, where they reveal who the villain is in the title of the episode, while at the same time setting up this mystery of who's the villain, who's coming back. Well, but you could guess who. As for the story itself, I feel like the first part kind of meanders, because the whole thing's setting up the reveal of the Sontaran. So everything before then is just kind of, I don't know, just kind of setting stuff up. I think Tom Baker's pretty good in this, though, because he's able to make technical babble enjoyable. You know, a major problem I have with Star Trek is that, like, they're always talking about some tech bullshit that I don't understand or care about. But Tom Baker was able to deliver these lines in a charming way, which I think is pretty. I think it's pretty impressive. Also, being impressive is how good the story looks, despite being yes another bottle episode. It all takes place outside in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. Um, it just looks like they took a camera to like I don't know Hammond, Indiana, and just started filming. But yeah, I it works well. You know, as soon as this Sontaran shows up, things get a little bit more exciting. He doesn't look quite the same as he did in the Time Royal, despite all the Sontarans being clones of each other. But they explain that in the documentary because the actor who played him was very sick and he got really thin. So he wasn't the same size he was in the Time Royal. And it's kind of sad because the actor actually died a couple weeks after this came out. Which sucks because I think he gave a great performance in the Time Royal, and he gives a great performance here. He's able to make the Sontaran menacing, but also kind of goofy at the same time. It's hard to find that like balance between menacing and comedic, but I think the Sontarans do it most of the time. Tom Baker is good in this, but you could tell some of the scenes isn't really him because he injured his collarbone in the episode, and I think they kept that part in of him falling and injuring himself, which is crazy. But the fact that the story is able to be completed at all is a wonder to me, and I think it wraps up pretty well. Even though you could definitely see his stunt double covering for him a lot. Um, but yeah, Sarah Jane's also pretty good in this. I like her human reaction to uh, not Lynx, the other guy, the Sontaran style, killing that innocent man. Like it just seems very raw and human, and I like that quality about a companion. You know, she's supposed to be us reacting to it. I'd react the same way. I'd be freaking out too. I don't know if I'd wear that ridiculous yellow raincoat and the stupid hat and the shoes. And it's funny because since these episodes continue on from each other, she's wearing that for like half the season. But yeah, the Santana experiment isn't the best episode I've ever seen, but it's still enjoyable. So I'm gonna give the Elkin Space like maybe a B minus, and I'm gonna give the Santana experiment a C minus. But I enjoy both of them. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.